Wait,
I move to reorganize the board.
Second?
Motion second to reorganize the board. All those in favor?
I,
Aye. And now what we're supposed to do, according to our stuff, is present candidates to Jessica.
Right, I take
And
nominations.
she will
Oh,
do,
yeah, that's- yeah.
she will run the vote on this, not the chair.
Yes, okay.
So that's something we've done differently, that's in the books to do it the proper way. So, we can discuss it or not discuss it. I'm obviously comfortable still doing it. I don't know if you think you're ready to take the chair yet, or give it your second year to get more of the ins and outs before you do the position.
well, I look at
you know.
it this way, Greg. I think I'm very capable of doing the position. I mean, I've probably run a gazillion meetings in my time, but I certainly
just
appreciate, the work that you've done, and I've learned a lot from you, just sitting here and listening. And not that I would do everything the way you do it, and not that you would ever do everything the way I do it, but I think we get along. I was under the impression that it was a rotating responsibility. I don't look at this as like, oh, wow, am I special? I look at this
Right.
as it's a rotating responsibility, that somebody has to be clerk and do the clerk stuff, which I did this
Right.
season, and happy to do that. The vice president seems to be the one that, the vice chair seems to be the one that gets out of most of the work.
Unless the chair doesn't make it.
Yeah, but you always make it. And so,
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, and so I assumed that it would be my turn, but I don't say, oh, it's got to be my turn. I just assumed that it would be my time to do it, and the next round would go to the guy over there, because I thought it was a rotating position, just because I thought that the only reason, I don't think it's the only reason,
Right.
but Dylan wanted no part of it. And
Which is why
and
I held on to it.
knew that I was the newbie, and was going to be the, whatever you guys said, I was the
Okay.
clerk. And I said, oh, okay, Greg's got to be, because Dylan doesn't want to be. Otherwise, I thought Dylan would have been the chair, you would have been the vice chair, and I would have been the
Right,
newbie.
and they got off the original rotation. There
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
your first year was, now, what you said, you had chair experience
Yeah.
before. But like, you wouldn't say, okay, we'll make John chair.
Yeah.
Because he's, even something like setting up town meeting.
Oh, I understand.
There's procedures and timelines to that
Yep.
that I'm more comfortable with still
Yeah.
at this point. And there's still just parts of these meetings that are different than your other meetings.
Mhm.
That's why I was happy to stay in and do it.
Mhm.
But the newest usually becomes clerk, because it is simple, but it is obligations.
All they do is
It-
assign you all the crap work, no.
Well, it makes him sign some things and gets him reading, when you have communications, you have the clerk read it, it gets him comfortable having to read things in front of the
Mhm.
audience, because some people are not.
Mhm.
And it just breaks you into that obligation of reading things, because when we get to town meeting, everyone's gonna read stuff usually. We haven't, unless we get back to a normal non-consensus agenda, non-consent
Mhm.
agenda. We all typically go up and read those articles throughout the whole meeting. So the clerk it's a good place that people start. It makes them do something, acknowledging, signing the meeting minutes every week. It keeps some duties and responsibilities. And then usually, the vice chair is the second year, and the third year is that. But
Mhm.
obviously, I've been sitting here for, 2 years now.
Well, it's,
Almost,
Yeah.
because I didn't sit here the year I should have at first. We were delayed from a meeting from COVID, and then we just didn't
Well-
reorganize, and it continued, so.
well, it's
That's-
obvious to me, Greg, from
It's-
your discussion, that this
No.
is important to you.
Well, I just want to make sure that if you're going to do it, you're comfortable and ready to do it, because I don't have any problem moving on. I really don't.
Well, well, as I said, it's, I have no problem with assuming the responsibilities of the chair, none. And as I said, I thought it was sort of a rotating thing. You feel, or from your discussion with me tonight, you obviously feel very committed to the role. I do not hesitate to argue with you when I think you're wrong.
And I wouldn't expect you to.
Okay, and I would absolutely continue to do so. What I would like to do, if I assume the role as vice chair, is to work more closely with Jessica on stuff relative to, putting the agenda together. Obviously, you have, final approval and all of that if you remain the chair. As I say, I have no delusions of grandeur over this, but have certainly feel that in let's face it, in open public meeting forums, I have way more experience than you, quite frankly, way more.
Mhm.
In many more complexities and a very large budget and 400 employees.
Mhm.
So been there, done that. So I'm not looking at this and saying, oh, I can't do this, I'm not capable, I need another year. No, I don't feel that way at all. And I feel that you've done a great job. I don't have any concerns. The only thing I would say, I hate when you get up and you're yelling and screaming at people in the audience. I know you felt the need to do that, but
There's one time I've risen my voice at a temp and it did not work the way I wanted, and that's.
Well, I know, there was a couple
you know.
ugly meetings, and so,
You
and
know.
then, then you've got all the people, thinking that you're this horrible human being that just can't, handle it, blah, blah, blah. And so I don't see that from you at working with you day after, for the number of days we've worked together. And obviously, I'm very prepared to assume the job of chair. But obviously, somebody needs to make give some nominations to Jessica. And so I guess
It just gets weird when you go later, when you have new people that come in that don't have any experience. That's what could come down the road. But I've been sitting here for almost 2 years, so I will certainly nominate Maureen Marshall for chair. Do we have a second?
Second?
We have a second. We
Okay,
typically-
can I take nominations for,
We
Well,
typically
yeah.
vote each one as we go through, fill the position, then move to the next.
okay, so we have a nomination and a second for Maureen as chair. Maureen, do you accept?
yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye?
Do we have nominations for vice chair?
I'll nominate Greg for that.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second?
Do we have any discussion? All in favor? Greg, do you accept?
Of course.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
All right. And we have nomination for a clerk?
John Dixon?
Second?
Okay, John, do you accept?
Sure.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Awesome.
So all that means is now when we get correspondence, we'll ask you to read it.
Okay.
Maureen will ask you to read it. And you'll be signing the meeting minutes, executive session. There's two places. There's one that says approval and one that says for release. Just be careful, executive sessions are released separately when the issues are done. And we should also, by the way, probably go back and clean that up.
Yeah.
In some of our things, for now, with the fire chief and for the other union negotiations we have can be released, including the termination process from the former police chief. Those meeting minutes do need to be released if the attorney's done redacting.
Great.
Yeah, because they'll have to redact it because some of it's
But we've been
employment.
slacking on some of those executive sessions, getting them out there. We should
Yeah.
get those through. Okay, we're all set?
If we need to, Greg, you and I can go over some of those things that you want to make sure I take care of. If there are some things you think, that I should take care of that I'm not aware of, that if you and I and Jessica.
Nothing specific, just when they
Okay.
come up in the meetings, there's been a couple things that have come up that I kind of said, oh no, we kind of do it this, and you're like, okay, and it's just some things are done different.
Okay.
But generally, it's a meeting. I mean, you call to order, you make sure everyone gets a chance to be heard, and,
And I get to
Try.
argue with you and you get to argue with me.
try to get people from running away on topics so we're not an hour and.
No, and I appreciate, your attention to keeping business at the forefront.
It's what I want. I think y'all know. That's
Yeah.
what I want to do. I want things to be.
And we will make a deal that we'll try to get out here every time by 9.
Yeah, well, this is,
And
we had a few things.
And we lied to John,
We
at
needed
least Jessica did. She told him only 3 meetings a month.
At least 3 meetings a month.
No, you said the maximum, don't worry. No, this has just
Well,
been busy.
If you want to start doing budget stuff and go into all those, you can, but it's really,
Well,
we need to hear the updates and get into it. If there's problems that aren't resolvable, that's when we get in and try to resolve. We have tried to let it be the administrative and finance to
And-
figure out the budget.
and
I
what we-
certainly wasn't expecting 2 school board meetings before our first select board.
No, that's
Well,
very
That's
unusual.
very unusual, very unusual.
Very unusual. But that's the
Yeah.
requirement of the
Of the regional agreement,
And then And I don't understand that requirement for those two meetings, because it's they vote,
You
two
gotta-
public hearings, and they vote. We have no say. So
I know,
what's-
I
what's-
know.
What's the point? I
Yeah,
mean,
especially to have a quorum. I could see have a representative, but you have to have a quorum there.
Well, also, they had, they assigned me before to go to union negotiation contracts for the labor
Oh.
negotiations for the school. And it says that the 5 towns elect a member to go, so they elected me to go, the 5
Yeah,
towns.
well, they always take the least, the one who they don't know is paying attention, and they make you go. Well, obviously, they won't make me go, I bet.
They wanted me to go, but here's the problem. When they tell us a meeting to attend, they were just there to vote on it. They've already done all the negotiations.
Oh, yeah.
Which is not the spirit of the contract. I'm supposed to be involved in negotiations with them, not
If you
just at
read,
the
if you
vote.
read the law is specific, that you have the right to vote, but you do not necessarily have the right to be named as a negotiation subcommittee member. So the negotiation subcommittee negotiates the contract. When they make the proposal to the full committee, that's when you get to go as a community representative and vote.
I thought that it said that it was to be involved in the,
Only to the-
not the law, the regional agreement.
Oh, the regional agreement doesn't say anything about
I thought
negotiations.
that's what it-
No,
I
it's,
thought
it's,
that's
it's,
where I
it's,
came
a-
from.
it's a statute, a special statute that
Okay.
the.
But that was one of those things like, what's the point? They've made up their mind,
No,
they're
it's a
a
statute.
body of 14, they're not gonna listen.
15.
15?
15. Hubbardston's got another member now.
So
Just saying.
it's just, it's crazy, crazy. So looking for the appropriate motion.
We move we adjourn?
Second?
Motion second to adjourn. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.